Welcome to the Mental Playbook. I'm your host, Malia Patel, and I am here with Mason Biddle, a former basketball player, coach, and teacher at Francis Parker School. Hi, Coach Biddle. How are you?
Great. How are you doing?
Good. So I want to start talking about what initially drew you to basketball and when did you realize you wanted to pursue it more seriously?
Yeah, so growing up, my dad was always a coach. So at the high school I went to, he was always a freshman or JV coach and assistant varsity coach. So I grew up going to every one of his games, being in the gym 24/7. And honestly, I was actually like my fifth, sixth, seventh grade years, I was always at his practices in the morning before school for me. So just grew up loving it, loved being in the gym with my dad, and that was where it started.
Nice. And how did basketball you played in college, how did that shape you as an athlete and prepare you for the next level?
Man, I tell my players this and I tell everybody this all the time. Basketball is like has prepared me for like pretty much everything in life. Whether it was school, turning in assignments on time, time management, working hard for others, being unselfish, all that type of stuff I learned from sports. And throughout my journey in basketball, it's really has been a blessing.
So you were a point guard?
Yeah, so I've always been a point guard. Played at Arlington High School, and then I went on and had a couple options out of high school to go like NAIA level, and wanted to play a little bit higher, just like any high school kid wants to. Was still chasing kind of the Division I, Division II level. So
Mhm.
I went to Riverside Community College and played there for 2 years, and then I got a full ride to Western State. Colorado University. So
Awesome. What was
yeah.
your mental playbook when stepping onto the court as a point guard?
Yeah, so as a point guard, you have to know your job and then you have to know everybody else's job. So, and he's just kind of like I always call a point guard an extension of the coach on the court. And I always took the initiative of, like I want to make sure my guys are in the right spot. But then I started learning as I got older, I didn't always have to do everything on my own. When I was younger, I felt like, you know what, oh, if it's a close game, I have to go score. When now as a coach, I'm realizing, just maybe you just give somebody else a great shot, and that's being a true leader.
Right.
So, that was, and I think I honestly think the best basketball minds are typically point guards just because they know every position that's on the court.
Yeah. What was your biggest adjustment going from college basketball to playing professionally in Germany?
The biggest adjustment, that was actually going to Germany was actually the first time I left the country. So that was a huge adjustment personally. And then the game in Germany is way different than the game out here. We dribble the ball a little bit more. We use a lot more ball screens, and out there it's just like more fluid basketball, pass, cut, and a lot more unselfishness and a lot less dribbling. But I would say the biggest adjustment was just the culture barrier and not being away from family and friends, the time difference. It was definitely lonely, but it gave me the ability to hone in on my craft and really focus on basketball, which is all I did. So it was nice.
Yeah, and how did you overcome that culture barrier?
I found a couple friends that I got close with, and luckily my first year the coach was amazing. He would like invite me over for dinner, and I would be with his family a lot. And my family came out and visited me twice that year. So it was I'm not gonna lie, it was a hard 10 months, but I was doing what I loved, but it was hard. Yeah.
What are some other challenges you faced in your basketball career and how did you overcome them?
Um, some challenges I faced. Well, a lot of people don't know this, but at in Colorado, we had two really bad years, my junior and senior year, record wise. So, and as a point guard and as a leader, like as a coach and a point guard, you kind of take the fall for all that, as you should. You get most of the praise when you win, and you get the the criticism when you lose. So we had two bad seasons, and it left a bad taste in my mouth. And I was super grateful that I got the opportunity to go and get that bad taste out of my mouth out in Germany. And we had two really, really good seasons out in Germany. So that was really nice.
Okay, good. So what inspired you to return home and pursue coaching instead of continuing your professional playing career in Germany?
Yeah, so the big thing for me, I almost went back to Germany for a third year, and then my sister started having kids, and that was a big thing for me. I'm super close with my sister, and her husband is like one of my best friends, so I wanted to be back for that, and I wanted to be around my nephew and niece, and they had a good opportunity for me to come out to San Diego in 2018 and start just coaching and training and being around basketball, which I still really wanted to do. And I felt like it was time. My body was kind of breaking down a little bit, and
Hmm.
I just didn't feel as confident as I did in my abilities to like stay healthy. So that was kind of why I made that decision.
Yeah, and how do you feel that transition was from being an athlete and now turning into a coach?
The first couple years were tough just because just playing is all I knew my entire life. And transitioning into being a coach was great because I still got my fix. I was still around basketball so much, but at the same time, the first couple of years, I was like, I could still play. And every time things got a little tough, I was like, well, I could just be playing basketball and making money out there, right? Everybody wants to say that, but I'm happy that I took the path I did when I did because it led me to where I'm at now in my like progression of my like actual career. Because basketball, you're only going to play for so long. Whether you're at the highest level, overseas, college, you're only going to play for so long. So
Yeah. As a coach, how do you instill confidence and mental resilience in your players?
confidence and mental resilience. That's a great question. We do it every day at practice. Like, like I'm hard on our players, but at the same time, I show them a lot of love and praise. And whatever we work on every single day, like if it's threes in the corner for certain people, when they have a wide open three, like I try to instill confidence in them by like letting them know out loud, like knock that down. You got it. Knock that down. Great shot. Great shot. Like I want them to be comfortable in the positions that we practice in, and that's usually my coaching philosophy. When we practice, I want to instill like ultra confidence in them on that.
Why is having support or even just fans at games so crucial to players?
I think it's one of those. I think it's one of those things like even growing up, you're with your dad or mom and they're at a game and you look over and you get that like sense of approval where it's like, oh, like somebody's watching me. Like you get a sense of importance. You feel important. So the more fans that are there, it's just like a contagious energy that goes through. It's like, oh, they're here. Like not necessarily like you have to like get out of your way of like doing something different. It's just I think it's like an energy thing.
Yeah, an energy boost. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that.
for sure.
What's one piece of advice you give your athletes that you wish you would have received earlier in your career?
Um, I think staying in your own locker room. Like I think that's the hardest thing. And I dealt with it as a kid too. Like you play a basketball game, you get in the car, you're riding with your dad, and now you see your dad's perspective or your mom's perspective of the game. And those are your parents. So you want to hear their perspective, you want to hear their opinion, and you value their opinion, right? And then, but what a lot of kids don't understand, and I didn't even understand it at the high school age, was they have your best interest, not the team's best interest, right? So so it's hard. It's hard, and that's what we try to preach. Like we try to stay in our locker room and always be respectful to your parents, but just know that like they're not in our practices, they're not in our locker room. They don't know exactly what we want to do. And I think that's the biggest advice I try to give them.
Yeah, and your dad was a coach. Did you ever feel that type of pressure from him?
Yeah, I felt some pressure sometimes from him. I felt some pressure to perform well. I felt pressure to kind of like, oh, I'm a coach's son, not to let him down. But the good thing for me was I felt pressure to also be like he instilled the values of like being a good teammate. Don't be an a-hole. Like those type of values are what he wanted, what he thought was important, and which are very important. And I'm glad he like honed in on those for me.
Yeah. How do you approach coaching players who struggle with the mental side of the game, like self-doubt or just game day anxiety?
Yeah, that's a great question. We I have like five coaches and I'm blessed to have those coaches and we try to approach everybody a little bit different. Like some guys get real hyped up and we have to calm them down a little bit. Some guys get real nervous and tight and we have to like and encourage them a little bit. Some guys need like a little bit of like, come on, man. Like, are you here today? Like somebody up in their face a little bit. So we try to coach everybody a little bit differently. And as the year goes on, we try to see who needs what. And for us, we kind of assign coaches to players and make sure that they get what they need to perform at their best, basically.
Yeah. So you're talking about leadership, especially as a point guard. How do you view leadership? What advice do you give your athletes to make sure, they're playing as a team and not as one?
We preach leadership of making the right play, and we try to never focus on stats. So like we focus on like our philosophy, what we want to do, what we want to accomplish, and then we in our program we like to praise the passer and the person that made the play rather than the person that made the shot. So of course we like, everybody praises the shot maker. That's just natural. So we say we don't really have to praise the shot maker because everybody else is going to praise you. So we praise the guy that got to the lane, drew two, and made the right kick. And then so our coaching staff, our four coaching staff, like, oh, great pass, great pass, great pass, way to do that, whatever he did. And then we'll be like, good hit. So we kind of like downplay the shot making and praise the unselfish play. And
That's
that's
really
kind of
interesting. Yeah.
yeah.
How important is basketball IQ compared to physical skills?
Basketball IQ, in my opinion, the physical skills, I think it's once you get to a high level, I think it's 60-40. I think it's more important. Yeah. You give me a team with a high IQ and less physical gifts, I think they'll go further. You still have to have a little bit of physical gifts though.
Yeah, yeah. What's your approach to game time decision making, both as a player and now as a coach?
Game time decision making, like in game or pre-game or
Both.
both. As a player, pre-game, I did the same routine every day. I always had pasta before every game, pasta and chicken. It was the same thing. And I always got like a real good 45-minute workout in, like a real workout on the court, sweating. And I try to take the same approach, like with our guys, like Tava does the same thing on game day. He gets a real workout in. Like I don't really believe in like you have to like rest before the game tonight at 7. Like seven's a long ways away. You could get a great workout in at 12 and be plenty rested. And then I think nutrition's big, staying hydrated. And I wish I would have done this earlier, but I think stretching's huge. Like stretching is huge.
Yeah.
So, and then as a coach, it's hard because I always feel like we could do more, but you have to have like a certain piece about your prep and just be like, okay, we did what we could do. The boys know what the boys know what we're supposed to do. Like, let's just go in there. Let's go in there positively and do it. Because I always feel like we could do a little bit more. Did we touch on this enough? I feel like we need more time, but I've gotten better at the just like letting it ride out and just trusting what we do.
Yeah. And after games, what did recovery look like for you, or how do you encourage your athletes to recover after games?
So I encourage like ice baths. ice baths because I think they're huge. But it was actually I didn't start doing it until I got to Germany. It was actually in my contract that after every game and practice we had to get an ice bath. So I mean, at first, obviously, like anybody, I didn't like it, and then I got addicted to it, and it like I after by the end of my career, like I was just like
What?
hot ice bath, and it felt great. But so I think stretching lots. I think a ton of water is always great, and if they can get some recovery stretching like that and have a trainer or something, we have a couple guys that go and do some recovery, which is really good.
Oh, wow. So, along with wins are obviously losses. How do you cope with the loss, and what do you tell your athletes when this happens?
So when we first lose, I try and keep it in the locker room. I try and keep it cordial until I watch the film. And then usually after the game, I could tell a lot of losses I try and put on myself always. And I always look in the mirror and say, all right, what could we have done better? What could I have done better first? And then I go back and watch the film. I always watch the film when we lose the night of, which is kind of sick, but I always do that. And then and then the film always makes it look you always feel worse than it really was most of the time. So when you watch film, it's like, okay, these guys were playing hard. Okay, he was there, kind of like all the stuff you think they didn't do in the game in real time, they were trying to do, and that's typically what film shows you. Or on some days, film will show you like, oh, okay, we just didn't do anything right today. But I like to watch film before I really get into details with the team.
Yeah. How do you celebrate success, and what does success in basketball and in life mean to you?
Celebrate success. I think that's a great question. I think success is so temporary, right? Right? So
Yeah.
like last night we got a huge win against La Jolla Country Day. It felt amazing. Went out, had a bite to eat, went home, still felt amazing. Woke up, now it's like, all right, who do we have for playoffs? Right. And it's kind of like the same on a loss. It's like you don't want to ride such a huge emotional wave because you still have to get up in the morning, go to practice, you still have to get up, go to your workout and get better whether you win or lose. And I think celebrating success is great, but I also think just understanding that that's just a tiny little part of the season. Like, okay, you found a little bit of success here. All right, how are we going to just continue to get better? And I think that's the same thing in life. Like, everybody wants a promotion, everybody wants a raise, and you gotta find a career or a sport that you want to just continue to get better in.
Right. So, how has basketball evolved since you were a player, and how do you adapt your coaching style to these changes?
Basketball has evolved in a crazy way. Kids are getting paid lots and lots of money nowadays. I feel like there's a sense of entitlement too with kids these days that that we didn't necessarily have when I was in high school or before me. And I think there's a lot of options for kids too these days. So all of that being said, it's tough to navigate in today's world. It's like you wanna be a hard, tough coach on kids, but I think a lot of the times people rein back on it because they don't want to lose kids or they don't want to necessarily always tell kids the truth because they're like, man, well, he could just go somewhere else. And I've always kept the same philosophy for myself was like basketball's always been like my first love. So I'm always going to treat like basketball above any kid or parent or anything that's going on in the world. Like if I think we're respecting the game and playing the game the right way, and I'm telling kids the truth and they want to leave, then that's okay. And you have to be okay with that nowadays.
Yeah. So, you've had the opportunity to learn from many legendary coaches like your dad. What's the best piece of coaching advice you've received?
The best piece of coaching advice I've received, it would probably be it would probably be one of them would probably be from Yancey Dotson. He was one of my coaches back in the day, and he said that the best players, what did he say? The best players are not necessarily always the flashy guys or the ones that score all the points. It's the people on the team that everybody wants to play with. Like, do you want to be around this guy and do you want to play with him and do you want him on your team? I think I think those guys are the most important. Like people call me crazy, but there's two players on our team that I think are extremely important that nobody even thinks about. So, and I just think like don't take wins and losses too serious, both. Like there's going to
Yeah.
be a lot of wins, a lot of losses, and I don't think you take either one that serious.
Yeah. So how do you balance your competitive drive with maintaining a positive team culture?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's a balance, and I think as coaches and as competitive players, ex-players and coaches, like you want to get the most out of your guys, and you have a competitive drive to win, and you also have you also have a due diligence to your kids where it's like, okay, like are you being too hard on them? So like I question myself all the time. The one thing I do that helps me feel better is I show my kids a lot of love as hard as I am on them, I show them a lot of love. And I think I know deep down that they know that I have their best interest at heart. But it's a relational thing. Once you start building that relationship, I think you could be harder on kids. But when you first meet somebody, you can't just you can't just be hard on somebody. It's kind of like dating. You don't just ask the crazy questions on a first date, right? Like you have to get to know somebody before you ask something very personal, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Why is being on a team so crucial to you, and how do you make sure the players are getting along with each other? Because I do think it's important, especially when you're playing together on the court, right, to have this sort of connection.
It is. I think the best teams in the world are the teams that really like being around each other, that like doing the team bonding. And I think a team atmosphere is the most important thing you can learn in life. Because whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a teacher at Francis Parker, like there's going to be coworkers you like, there's going to be coworkers you don't like as much. Like you're going to always have to learn how to be on a team. And even the most successful entrepreneurs, they build their own team. So you're going to have to learn how to build a team and lead a team. So I think everything in life, no matter if it's a sport, a career, everything involves a team. So if you could be a great teammate and a great leader, which I think sports really help everybody with, I mean, I think you'll be very successful in life.
Yeah, those are crucial life skills. So you're also involved in clinics and camps. Why is giving back to the basketball community so important to you?
It's what I love and it's what people did for me growing up. So I still remember going in Riverside, going to like clinics and camps and those are some of the funnest memories I've had in my entire life. And I could see like the impact that the coaching staff that I have, that we have on the community and kids coming in and just like getting better at basketball and just having a great time with friends is some of the best memories they're going to have as well. I mean, whether they play at the next level, whether they play varsity basketball or not, like everybody likes to go to LA Fitness and play basketball. Like everybody. So I think it's just an important thing to continue to give back. And that's honestly how I've met a ton of kids. Like that's how I've met David, that's how I met Jake Hall at Carlsbad, and then you start training them and then they become amazing. Some of them become amazing athletes. So it's fun to watch.
Yeah, especially if they have an amazing coach.
That's true. And I was very grateful. I had a lot of good ones.
Nice. What are your long-term goals in coaching or just your career?
That's a good question. I've had some opportunities to go to the college level, and I'm still thinking about it, and I'm still thinking in a couple of years if that's something that I want to do in the trajectory that I want to head towards. But I'll be honest, I'm very happy at the not just the job I have, but the impact I'm able to have where I'm at. So with obviously with our kids, I run my own basketball club here. I do various clinics and do all types of stuff like that. So I think the impact that I have where I'm at is very good, and I'm grateful for that. But I may jump into the college world in a couple years.
Yeah. And what is the age range that you coach?
Um, so my club is high school, and that is 15 through 17U. And then the camps and clinics, I usually go like fourth through eighth grade.
Oh, nice. Do you notice a difference between coaching younger athletes versus the older ones?
Yeah, like I just changed my approach. It's more so you make it fun and you make development fun. And then as they get older, and I always coach off of what kids tell me. So I ask a kid all the time, I'm what's your goals? Like, hey coach, I just want to have fun. Like I love basketball. Perfect. Then I'm clapping, I'm smiling. And then, you get a 16-year-old kid, coach, I want to play Division 1. You really want to play Division 1, like basketball? Like, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna coach you how where you want to be. Oh, this isn't very fun. I don't really like this. Like, this is what you said you wanted. You know? So so that's how I try and coach people. So the higher level you want to get to, like the harder I'm gonna be on you. If you want to have fun, I'll tone it down a little bit. If you're younger, it's about development and having fun and starting to really love the game of basketball. I think fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh grade is like I think it's just instilling love for basketball and a little bit of success.
Yeah. My last question for you is what matters most to you, the destination, the journey, or the company?
I think it's all about I think it's all about, man, that's a good question. I'd have to say the journey. It's all about the process for me. Like I truly do love like I love this week of preparation for Country Day. Like it was great. Like that was almost more fun than the game for
Mm,
me. And the game was great. Like that was an amazing game. But like just prepping and then seeing these guys get better every single day and getting seeing them locked in and get ready for the game, and then we go to the game and I see little things that we practiced the whole week. Like it's very that's very rewarding, whether you win or lose at the end of the day.
yeah. Awesome.
Company's nice, company's nice though.
Yeah, no.
You gotta have people you love around you for sure.
Right. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Coach Biddle, for being on my podcast. To my listeners, mind strong, game on.
Thank you.